Hello and welcome to Untwisted Threads. This is Lana Grossa Merino Uno. This 50% superwash merino wool yarn features 40 colors. The colorway that we chose is 81 Nougat. This 50 gram skein with 125 meters or 137 yards works up as a DK weight yarn. The suggested gauge on a US 7 or 4.5 millimeter needles is 25 stitches and 19 rows per 4 inches or 10 centimeters. For our swatch, I will be using the recommended size 4.5 millimeter. In today's video, we're going to review and score Lana Grossa Merino Uno using our 5 categories, which are availability, softness, traction, durability, and cost, to help you decide if this is the best yarn for you and your next project. Stay tuned until the end for a few pattern recommendations as well. Would you like to feel a sample of our top picks out of over 100 yarns that we've reviewed on this channel? Click the link below to get your first month's free specialty yarn card, knitting patterns, and more. Let's get started. For availability, we give Merino Uno a score of 2.5 out of 5. Lana Grossa was founded in 1972 and produces its yarn from top Italian spinning mills. This yarn just isn't super widely available, at least here in the United States. We ordered ours from a larger online craft shop called Lindy Hobby, which does ship from overseas, and maybe on Lovecrafts, it just shows that it's out of stock in their US store right now. I was sad to not find a shop in the US that carried it, at least that we know of. For softness, we give it a score of 4.1 out of 5. This superwash treated merino wool yarn was bouncy, a little soft, but not too much. It reminded me of how it was to work with Sandnes Garn Smart. It was ever so slightly irritating for my sensitive skin, but I only noticed that towards the end of my swatch, not enough to keep me from working with it. And after blocking, you'd be happy to hear that it softened beautifully, not too much, but a nice hand. For a comparison, it is softer than Knitting for Olive Pure Silk and not quite as soft as Drops Nord. I'd say it's pretty comparable to Mayflower Easy Care Classic. For a micron count or softness scale rating, we'd estimate it to be about a 23, so not quite your typical merino softness-wise, but still far softer than the average Peruvian Highland wool. We refer to it as a softness in the middle between super soft and rustic, even more so on the softer side. And because it is superwash treated, that often adds some softness to the yarn too. One thing we did notice is its beautiful stitch definition, great for color work if you ask me. So maybe it's not as soft as Drops Daisy or Sandnes Garn Double Sunday, but honestly, its stitch definition would make me want to work with this one more than the Double Sunday. So in short, kind of making this one comparable in a way. When it comes to wearing it, garments made from merino wool are light and warm. It's not only insulating, but it also wicks away moisture from the body and retains heat even when moist, thanks to the structure of the fibers. For traction, we give it a score of 4 out of 5. Because of its bounce, it was fairly enjoyable to work with. Yes, over time, that very, very slight irritation was noticeable, but I think I could still work with it. You could use wooden or bamboo with this one if you wanted to. I don't think you would be fighting too much grip or drag on the needles. And I also didn't experience any splitting or coming apart, which was great too. For durability, we give it a score of 3 out of 5. Often, softer yarns don't hold up well to wear and tear and are prone to pilling due to their short fiber length. Because merino wool fibers are more fine, it's a little delicate on its own. However, the higher twist of this yarn definitely adds some strength. We have noticed that merino yarns seem to pill the most, and this one is no exception. When it came to the stress test, we noticed our swatch pilling both fabric to fabric and when feeling it with my hand. It pilled a medium amount. We counted about 10 pill balls, so fairly noticeable but still seems manageable. For cost, we give it a score of 4.2 out of 5. For being a 50-gram skein, you can expect to pay $4.10 US per skein. That breaks down to about 3 cents per yard, meaning a size medium sweater quantity would cost approximately $37. Overall, we give Lana Grossa Merino Uno a score of 3.56 out of 5. This was a nice yarn, a good hand in softness after blocking, great stitch definition and price point, beautiful colors. I would be happy to work with it again, and I think that the pilling could be managed if you wanted to. So we had a little look on Ravelry and wanted to share a few pattern recommendations with you, hopefully to inspire you if you're wanting to use this yarn for a project of your own. The first pattern is Corners, Edges, Stripes by Martina Behm. It comes in one size with finished measurements of 136 inches in length and 24 inches deep that is adaptable to your amount of yarn. It suggests using 4 colors and a US 4 or 3.5 millimeter needle size in garter stitch to meet gauge. It is knit in different triangles and directions for a fun and interesting look. The finished shawl weighs more than 300 grams and is very wide, which makes it extremely versatile. It could even replace your cardigan if you wanted. But you can also make a smaller and lighter version using less yarn and the same instructions. You could go for a more colorful look or a chromatic version. The next pattern is the Waffle Loop Sweater by Other Loops. It comes in 3 sizes with finished bust measurements ranging from 43 to 51 inches and recommends 6 to 12 inches of positive ease. It suggests using 1 strand of DK and 1 strand of lace weight yarn held together and a US 7 or 4.5 millimeter needle size to meet gauge. The sweater is worked top down. First, the stitches are cast on for the back of the neck. Then they're worked flat in a waffle texture with rib on either side of the work, while increases are made at the same time to shape the top of the back section. Then stitches are picked up along each shoulder edge. The front shoulders are worked flat, then joined with a few newly cast on stitches in between. The front and back are joined and the body is worked in the round in waffle texture with cables and ribbing down the sides. Stitches are then picked up and worked in the waffle texture in the round. The sleeves are shaped with decreases and cuffs are worked in ribbing. To finish, stitches are picked up for the neckband, knit in the round in rib, and finished with a tubular bind-off. It's a sweater with a relaxed, straight silhouette and high neckline. The last pattern is the perfect hat for spring, the Shoujo Beret by Fran López. It comes in 4 sizes with head circumference ranging from 14.5 to 23.5 inches. It suggests using this yarn in a US 2.5, 4, 6, and 7 needle size and a 5 millimeter crochet hook to meet gauge. It's worked from the bottom up in the round, and the bow is worked flat and sewn to the beret. It begins with a 1x1 ribbed brim, then continues in stockinette stitch, and stitches are picked up from the cast on edge to create a hem while doubling the stitches. You continue knitting in stockinette until it reaches the desired size, then you divide it into 8 equal sections, decreasing 1 stitch per section in each round until 40 stitches remain. The last stitches are closed by passing the yarn with the help of a needle through all the stitches twice and pulling it tight. The bow is created with 3 rectangles and is attached to the center of the beret. Have you used Lana Grossa Merino Uno yarn before? What yarn would you like for us to do a review on next? We would love to hear your thoughts and recommendations in the comments below. And if you enjoyed today's review, please give it a like, subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you next time.